Welcome back to Centennial Customs, guys. And this week we're focusing on the running boards. I've shortened them because my wheelbase is now shorter, but I've never built mounts for them yet. So we're gonna get after that. First thing first, we gotta get it up on some blocks so I can get under there, and we're gonna attach them to the bottom side of the cab. Okay, we're up in the air. I love these blocks because you put them under the tires and it's essentially like it's just sitting on the ground. It is safe to be under it. Pretty sketchy getting it up that high though, but once it's under there, we're all good to go. Truck is aired up right now, so it still could potentially drop just with the air suspension, but won't be dropping to the ground. But first things first, we're gonna put the running boards up just from fender to fender, and then there's just some clamps and whatnot, and then we will start building some braces. Before I get all the bracing done, I want to start working on these side aprons here. Because I moved my fender forward because my wheelbase is a little bit shorter, I knew they aren't going to fit. So I'm going to cut them pretty much straight in half and then slide them over, and we'll cut the inside out. This will fill this gap in, and it'll also make sure my height's right, so I want to do that before I build the bracing, so we'll get after that first. Alright, last you guys saw I was working on these running boards. That was like a month ago. I haven't really worked on this thing all summer. Life's kind of changed, so instead of focusing on these running boards right now, I need to get a steering column in this so I could steer it. I'm not going to tell you guys the news yet, but hopefully soon I can tell you what's going on. So instead of taking the column out, putting it in again, and doing it just half-ass, I want to finally mount the dash and like the column and get that actually done. So I'm going to focus on the firewall. I'm going to rip the front end off again, clean up all the welds on the firewall, start bodyworking the firewall, try to get that painted, and then wrap it up. And then I could get the dash tie bar in there and then get the steering column mounted to that. And I'll be able to steer it at least. And we'll go from there. But for now, we're going to put the running boards on hold. So let's get this front end pulled apart. So I'm sure it looks like I'm going backwards, and I mean I am, but I never got around to fully cleaning these up. You tell they're already starting to flash rust a little bit. So I'm gonna grind all these welds all the way around the top and everything, clean up the total firewall. Probably end up pulling this booster off now since I'm looking at it. And then I'm gonna hit the raw metal of epoxy, and I think I'm just gonna paint the whole firewall gloss black. So I guess we'll just we'll start grinding and cleaning this mess up. Okay, I got all my welds cleaned up pretty nice. I think tomorrow, whenever I get a chance to work on it again, I'm gonna weld up all the rest of these holes and regrind those, clean off the rest of the paint, and we'll move on to some body work. Good progress tonight. Actually feels pretty good to work on this thing again. It's been a while. Okay, I got lots done today. Didn't film too much. Welded all the holes up, grinded it all down, sanded the paint off, and then this is just a epoxy primer. So I'm gonna let the epoxy sit overnight, and then tomorrow we'll come back and we'll start body working this and smoothing it all out, make it look nice, and then throw some paint on it. Okay, I got the first round of filler done. This is fiberglass filler. I used a trick I learned from Bad Chad Customs with putting a little bit of resin in the filler itself. Made it really thin and a lot easier to spread, even though I'm not a good spreader. That's why I went across with a razor blade and then some old cookie cutters and just knocked down all the highs now because I'm not good at spreading it nice and smooth. But I'm gonna let this cure for another, 20 minutes, take the dogs for a quick lap, and we'll come back and do some more. Okay, we got the Firewall fiberglassed up. It's decently smooth right now. We're gonna start laying some actual body filler now. We'll just keep on moving on it. There's not too much to film when it comes to body work. It's pretty repetitive, boring stuff, but we gotta do it. Okay, those 2 rounds of filler, and we're pretty smooth there. There's a few little dimples and whatnot. I'm gonna hit it with some filler primer and see if we just take care of that without some putty. So we'll give it a spray of some filler primer. Okay, update time. Got it all smoothed out with the filler primer. Looks really good. A couple little spots I want to sand after it dries a bit more. While that's drying, I'm going to start moving on to the inside. I want to get this section of the firewall cleaned up as well. Not too worried about the back half yet. I'm not going to put interior in anything yet. But I want to paint all the rusted metal with POR15. It stands for paint over rust. I'm still going to clean it up as much as I can, and then I'll lather on that paint. Once it dries, sound deadening material, and then we can start putting some stuff back in. So I got this all painted on. I put it on super thick. Gonna let that dry for a few hours. There might be a couple other spots I might have to do another touch up. You won't see any of this. It doesn't matter how it looks. But it's on there thick. It's coated. In the meantime, this is the HVAC box out of the Envoy. I had to trim the side of it just to fit the 54 around it. So I have to build a plastic piece here, plastic weld it up, and just close up whatever I can. Don't have the plastic, so I have a rear door panel. I'm going to cut a nice square piece out. a whole plastic weld, plus I got some JB plastic bond that will seal it up. Okay, a little update. Got this panel plastic welded in there. I was just using a soldering iron and just melting it together. Whenever I didn't have enough material, I was just melting zip ties in there. But I put some 2-part epoxy plastic bonder shit in there just in case there's some pinholes or whatever, or add some extra strength. Also got this area seam sealed up. Wait for that to dry, and then I can throw some paint on this firewall. Maybe give it a light scuff first. Okay, so this paint's all dry now. I'm gonna run beads of seam sealer basically across anywhere I welded, just to make sure there's no pinholes or nothing going through the other side. So we're gonna lay it in here pretty thick. So I'm just spraying this rattle can matte black. Haven't fully decided on an exterior color yet. Either way, matte black will match whatever I end up doing. And it will be actually painted, not rattle can, for the outside of the truck. But I've just been using up what I have in the garage for this firewall. And it's turned out pretty good so far. Now she ain't perfect, but for being 2 firewalls welded together, looks pretty clean. Pretty happy with that. Gonna hit it with some clear, but I'm gonna let it dry for a bit first. Okay, I got the firewall cleared. Came out really nice. The clear was high gloss. I kind of wish I left it the satin finish, but it's okay. It looks nice. It actually lays out really nice for rattle cans clear. Pretty happy with that. I mean, you won't see much of it once the hood's on and weather stripping and hood hinges and everything on the firewall, but that looks a hell of a lot better than what I did a few days ago. So now we're gonna start back in the interior. I got a couple boxes of this Kill Mat stuff. It's Amazon brand, I'm pretty sure. It's a sound deadening material, and it's supposed to reflect some heat too, so we're gonna cover the whole firewall with that. I had it on time lapse forever. I was trying to get this HVAC box in there. It's just a pain in the ass, I guess. I originally cut it to clear, and that was all good, but when I plastic welded that piece back in, the thickness of that was hitting the wall. So I had to grind that down, hammer the wall out just a little bit, trim some more things. Had a little bit of leftover dash here, so I cut that out to make the tie bar fit. Everything's lined up, it's all bolted together, so happy with that, but just took way longer than expected. Alright guys, I am exhausted. Got the steering column finally in. I can steer. Steering column mounts to the tie bar, that's why I wanted that in. I still have to make a mount on that side, get rid of the 2x4. I will do that in the future. It's really tight to the wall, so I might just even weld it right directly to the wall, but I'll get to that. Obviously the HVAC box had to go behind that, that's why I wanted that done. And then the steering column goes through the firewall. Got it connected down there again. And then got my AC and my heater core ports right there. That's why I wanted the firewall done before I put all that down in. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't have to touch any of that stuff again. Pretty happy with how it turned out though, but way too much work. Calling it an episode. At least I could steer this thing. Hopefully I could tell you guys the news soon in the next one. But make sure you guys come back for it, like, subscribe, all that. Thanks for joining me on this one.